Goodness, wedding planning, it is so stressful enough, let alone throw in a global pandemic. Well, Cara stepped in for Chesley to help me tackle this question and more in Love Doctors. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, filling in for Chesley McNeil is Cara, who currently has a MBA in love. She's working on that doctorate, so we feel like she is qualified. I'm just throwing things out there, Cara.
You can get a lot of things on the internet.
Qualified.
You can get a lot of things on the internet.
You can. All right, you ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
Cara, let's do this thing. Come on. Okay, first question is, my fiance and I agreed on having a small, intimate wedding with just close friends and family when we got engaged. However, my fiance has completely taken over the planning, and now all of a sudden, I'm having a 350-person wedding. He's in real estate, so he feels like he needs to invite all of his clients. But it makes me feel like he's more concerned with making it a networking opportunity than a sacred day that's just about us. How can we come to an agreement so we both get the wedding of our dreams? Cara, I'm going to take this first because, first of all, I know a lot of successful people in real estate, and they are, I feel like, always networking. I can appreciate that about them. But you know what? This is your day as well, and this is not what you decided on. I kind of went through something like this with Jim. He wanted something really small and intimate. I have a bunch of, crazy loud Italian, Spanish family and friends, and, it almost was going to be about 300 people. In the end, he compromised. We had about 150. Still probably too big for him. But that's what this is about. You have to learn how to compromise now. I mean, how are you going to do it with other big life decisions if you're not doing it, at this moment? So unless the invites have already gone out, I think he needs to scale back that list, honey. Go have like a little, summer soiree or another kind of networking experience. But I don't think that's fair to her. What do you think, Cara? Or do you say go for it, let him do it? Depends on the money.
No, I was going to say the same thing about compromising. There has to be a happy medium. Quite frankly, when I read this, or when you were just reading that, I was so annoyed. Because, no, we're not going to have 350 people. I am, upset for this woman. We're not going to have 350 people at our wedding because that is just too many, especially if she had in mind that it was going to be small and intimate. Then she's going to be miserable on one of the happiest days of her life, and that is not copacetic. That's not cool. And like you said, I thought, well, maybe they could have a party. Like maybe they just have an extra party for all of his clients. And also, if you were networking the whole night, no, sir.
I agree, and I don't know about that. Hey, have your party on your own time. Of course, your fiance will be there, but no, make this about the day and compromise. So, Cara, we both agree on that. We're not fighting on this one at all. He needs to chill out. That's right. Focus on the day of love, not the day of professional advancement. All right. Second question is, I met the girl of my dreams a few weeks ago. We've been inseparable ever since. But she's getting ready to leave for a year working as a teacher abroad. Oh, no. I feel like she could really be the one. But at the same time, I don't know if I'm ready to commit to a long-distance relationship with someone I just met. Do I follow my heart and just see where this goes? Or has this already ended before it could even begin? This is a tough one, Cara. Uno, I know you're trying to weigh in, but just let Mama talk for a minute. I say you can't commit after only just a few short weeks. I think that time is going to maybe to help you decide. I don't think you can get committed and see what happens when they're leaving. I think you got to say, let's keep in touch. Let's Zoom or FaceTime, and we'll see how this thing goes. But I think it's too soon to commit.
That's a very mature response, Christine. I think that you are probably right, but we've seen it play out on every season of The Real World. If you are of a certain age, and you've probably watched a lot of Real World. Never really works out.
Cara.
However, I think I would probably say go for it and just cross that bridge when you get there. Have a tearful 12-hour phone conversation one night when one of you meets somebody else. I don't know, but I just think you should keep the love alive for now. You never know.
Cara, that is so hard. Being in another city is hard, much less being in another country. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying don't keep in touch. I'm saying don't commit, which is a very strange look. Look at who's a big shot now that she's married. Because back in the day, I would have been holding on to his ankles so he wouldn't have boarded the plane. Don't go, please. But look, now that I'm happily married, 76% of the time, just kidding, Jim, I'm acting like a big shot. No, I think you stay in touch. You definitely do see how this goes. But I just don't think you can commit to being, you know,
okay, you know what?
What's the word I want to use? Exclusive. Thank you.
You've actually.
I think that's going to be the tricky part.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, I actually have changed my mind since you've been talking, because revisiting times I have done this, and it's always ended up as a disaster. If you really love her, you set her free. Don't make her feel guilty about going. If she's going to another country, she's going to want to experience everything that country has to offer. So you don't want to hold her back. So maybe you do keep in touch, and if it's meant to be, you will find each other again. I guess I changed my mind.
You know what, Cara? Thank you. I got to tell you, you're the easiest person to get their mind to be changed. I mean, I can't do it with Jim. I can't do it with Chesley McNeil. I couldn't do it with my bosses when I asked for a raise. Whoa, kidding, everybody. I'm totally kidding. All right, guys.
You know what? You just made sense.
Listening.
You just made sense.
Thank you. All right, I love you, Cara. Thank you for filling in, and good luck earning that doctorate of love. You're so close. You're so close.